The crowds eat up the action and entertainment when pro wrestling comes to town. And for one promotion in particular, it never fails to put on the best show possible, featuring slams, strikes, and overall fun and amazement. This is the Neo Wrestling Federation. Formerly known as Neo Spirit Pro Wrestling, has a rich history in not only Niagara Falls, but an independent wrestling history as well. The Neo Dojo is the wrestling school ran by the organization and head trainer Jesse Scott, who's known by fans as Tiberius King.
Well, open up the school just because basically out of necessity for, in my opinion, a lack of good solid wrestling in the Niagara area. I think there was a void for a few years, and I'd actually gotten injured on a wrestling show. It was a really bad ring, and I was wrestling a really bad guy, and I kind of got fed up, and I'm like, you know what, that's enough. You know, some people need to A, be trained properly, and B, be able to work on the best equipment that there is. So I bought this ring, and I needed a place to store it. I'm not going to make anybody a superstar. I'm not going to make anybody millions of dollars. You know, you're going to make yourself a superstar, or you're going to make yourself millions of dollars. I could try to point you in the right direction and tell you what you need to do, but at the end of the day, it's up to that individual to do that. You know, I'm trying to get these people ready to move on to the next level so that they can go to, a Florida Championship Wrestling, which is WWE's minor territory. You know, why play football at the college level if you're not aspiring to try to play in the NFL, right? So,
for students like Cole Stark, it's not just paying dues to the school as much as it is respecting and representing the school as a whole.
To get to the top, you may as well start at the top, and to fight all the former champions I have and current champions is an honor. If a match is upwards half hour, an hour a week, training goes, say, 6 hours a week, 10 hours a week, there's so much more because there's dieting, there's tanning, there's a lack of sleep. Wrestling has to become a first commitment. You just think you stand there and that's your 5 seconds maybe before your song starts, just to get it together, and all the time you put in at the gym to go there and show that. I hurt my knee my first day, I broke my thumb 2 months in, I broke my nose a month ago. Injury is a part of the business.
For a while there, I mean, even now, it is kind of like two different worlds. I mean, at one point I lived with 6 other wrestlers in a house, so everything was wrestling all the time, you know, and that was my life. But now, you know, I live with my girlfriend, and you know, I'm going to school, so I have like this whole other element. So it's definitely, you know, two completely different worlds. You know, sometimes I think my life's boring, but then my girlfriend's like, oh, you're so interesting, you know all these people. And then sometimes I just think, hey, you know, I mean, I may not be at the big time in WWE or anything like that, but you know, the last 13 years doing this, I've met some of the most incredible people, and I've had a lot of absolutely incredible experiences.
Fame and glory isn't the only thing standing in the way of these wrestlers and students in training. Injuries have become quite common with trained professionals, with many wrestlers fighting through the pain and continuing despite the injury themselves. Whether it's broken noses, bruised tailbones, or sprained body parts as well. As they say in the business, the show must go on. Not much is known where these students are heading, where these wrestlers themselves are heading. Making it to a major company like the WWE presents the same odds as getting struck by lightning. But what all wrestlers share in common is that they were once children sitting in front of their television screen watching larger-than-life personas combat in the ring.
I'm 31 years old, and I'm hurt every day. You know, every day I get out of bed, there's something is acting up, be it my wrist. I had surgery to repair my shoulder because it dislocated over 20 times. This shoulder is just recently dislocated, and that's about 6 or 7 on this side. Both my knees are kind of shot, ankles, sprained both of them. My neck is just, I don't even know what's wrong with it at this point. So, I mean, those are definitely some of the risks in chasing your dream. And of course, at the end of the day, like if you don't make it, you could be like, oh, you know, I didn't make it, and your body's totaled, right? But it's the way I guess you look at success. And you know, if I don't get to the WWE, then I won't have any regrets actually at this point. There was a few years ago when I would have, but now, just the way my life's going, and you know, I wouldn't have any regrets. If I could try to get one of my students to carry on like to go and maybe make it further than I did, to me that's that's success. That's success for me.